It's not going to be you wake up on January 1st and you're a brand new person who wakes up at 4:30 every single morning and gets up and at it. When you're going into a new year and then you realize there's still things that you're dealing with from 2024, it's like, no, girl, we're going on a fast. The start of January for you of 2025 is going to be your most successful start to the new year that you've ever had. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Girls in Real Life podcast. I'm your host, Mariah Clayton. Happy December. We made it to the last month of the year, you guys. I honestly cannot even believe it. Before I get started talking just a whole lot, I have to point out the elephant in the room that yes, I am sick. I know I sound gross and disgusting, and I'm very sorry about it. I've been sick for the past few days, just like super congested. My throat has been really dry. It's not been good for me, okay? But we are surviving. That's all that I can say. Also, don't mind the pile of clothes that are behind me. Just pretend like it's not there, okay? I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. I told you guys we were hosting, and I have to come back with the full report that it went so good. Everyone loved the rolls that I made, you guys. I was so nervous, like making that dough for the first time, but honestly, they were like a 10 out of 10. I can't even lie. They were so good. They were doughy. They were salty, but also sweet. Like, honestly, I would make them every holiday now. Like, it honestly wasn't even that hard. How many times am I going to say honestly? Goodness gracious. But really, it wasn't that hard. Everybody was so impressed that I made like homemade bread, and it was like the easiest thing ever. So I will maybe put a link to the recipe that I used in the description of the podcast episode, because I used someone's recipe that I saw on Instagram, girl. These Parker House honey rolls. I don't even know what they're called, but they're really good, pretty simple to make. So if you want to try your hand at it for Christmas, by all means, it's in the description, girly. Go make you some fresh rolls. I also went and saw Wicked over this past week. Oh my gosh, y'all. I love Ariana Grande first and foremost, but I also love Wicked. Like, I wouldn't call myself a major theater kid, but I love musical theater. I always have. I was in drama classes growing up, and like I played what is Dorothy's aunt's name in The Wizard of Oz? I don't remember, but in our high school play, I played the aunt. So it's like, I know these stories. My drama class, we went and saw Wicked on Broadway when they came to New Orleans. And like, it's just something that is so magical that happens when you're sitting in a theater and everyone's singing and dancing, and like the stories that they're portraying. I don't know. I will always be a musical theater fan, and just a musical fan in general, because I just feel like it makes you feel things on a deeper level. And Ariana Grande and Cynthia, they did not disappoint. If you haven't seen it yet, please do yourself a favor and go see it. Everyone in the theater was laughing, crying, just like in awe of the talent that these two women hold. So I would love to go and see it again, and maybe I will, but I also cannot wait for part 2 to come out. We have to wait a whole nother year, like, please. Last little life update that I'll give you guys before we dive into the episode is this week is Justin's birthday. His birthday is on December 5th. If you have been a listener of the podcast for like the past 2 years, then you know my track record with Justin's birthday has not always been the best, okay? Our first year when we started dating and we celebrated his birthday, I brought him to New Orleans and he got food poisoning. And then the following year was better, but he was still sick. It wasn't my fault though. He was just randomly sick on his birthday, and it was like not good at all. But I had planned a birthday dinner for him at Ruth's Chris with like us and all of his friends, and he enjoyed it. But again, he was just very sick. So hopefully this year, third time's a charm. I don't know. I pray that my man is not sick on his birthday again this year, because that would just not be good luck at this point. I don't even know what we're doing. I'm trying to think. I might just like take him to dinner or something. I don't know. At first he wanted a party, but now he's like, I don't know, like with the wedding planning and all this other stuff, like we'll see everyone soon enough. So it's just kind of like, well, maybe just do something together. I don't know. I'll talk about it next week when I know for sure. But yeah, that's pretty much all the life updates that I have for you guys. So let's just go ahead and dive into today's episode, if I can talk. And we are talking about how to do an an end of the year life reset, like everything that needs to be done before the end of the year so that you can start 2025 off on the best foot possible. I kind of did an episode to this similar last year, like 5 steps that you need to know, or 5 things that you need to do before the end of the year. So we're just kind of like piggybacking off of that. You guys really enjoyed it, so I thought that we would do another rendition of it this year. So I have a list of a few things here on my iPad that I'll read and talk about for you guys on how you can do an end of the year life reset. And I just feel like this is so important because the end of the year is literally the busiest time of the year. I'm sorry, y'all. I zoomed in a little bit because this blackness over here, it was throwing me off because I usually don't show that much. That's our bathroom over there and it needs a remodel very, very badly. But yeah, I had to zoom in because I was like, that's just too much darkness for me. But like I was saying, I feel like an end of the year life reset is critical because the end of the year is the busiest time of the year. Everyone's overwhelmed, everyone's stressed, everyone's shopping and trying to take care of everybody else's needs. And a lot of times during this time of year, we kind of neglect our own things. And then by the time January comes around, we look up and we realize that there's still so much that we feel like we need to do in order to really have a quote unquote fresh start for the new year. So instead of just like scrambling at the end of the year like we always do, I really want us to be intentional about the things that we need to take care of and handle before the end of the year is over, just so that we can start off 2025 with the fresh start that we all feel like we need and that we all deserve, honestly. So don't get so caught up in the Christmas hype and the New Year's hype and like trying to make sure everyone else is good. Like really take an internalized look at yourself and figure out what do you need to do for yourself in order to make sure that you can start off 2025 the best way possible. So the first thing that you're going to do before the end of the year is you're going to figure out your game plan for the rest of the year and also hopefully for the first quarter of 2025 if you really are an overachiever. But what I mean by this is in order to figure out your game plan, you need to look back at the year as a whole and figure out what were your accomplishments, where did you fall short, what did you get to do versus what did you not get to do, right? Like all of this self-reflection is super important because it will give you a bird's eye view of everything that you've done in the year, everything that you accomplished versus what you didn't accomplish, and everything that you felt like you didn't get a chance to really do. And once you have a good understanding of that, it will really help you determine what is it that you need to focus on for these last 4 weeks of the year and how to gear yourself up for 2025. You could do this by making a Pinterest board. You could do this by writing out your goals for the rest of the year and maybe a little bit into the new year as well. You could journal. You could put it in the notes app in your phone, right? Like there are so many different possibilities for you to be able to write out your game plan for the rest of the year. Figure out how you're going to spend this last month of 2024 so that you can get ready and be prepared for 2025 without scrambling at the last minute, like trying to think about what your year is going to be like the night before the ball drops. Okay. Like, I don't know about y'all, but every year I say, I'm going to sit down and make a vision board. And a lot of times it doesn't happen until like the night before January 1st or on January 1st. And then it makes me feel like I'm not getting as much of a head start on the new year as I would like. So for me personally, I'm definitely going to try and get my vision board going like now, just so that I can really zone in and focus on the things that I know that I want to work towards in the new year and figure out my game plan for how I'm even going to get there. Number 2 on our end of the year life reset, we are going to deep clean and organize. Okay. I feel like I always do this at the end of the year just because I feel like I just need a fresh slate. I need to not go into the new year with clutter. I need to make sure that I am taking inventory of everything that I have. So maybe when I'm into the new year, I'm not spending money on things that I already have in my closet or I already have in my room, right? Like it's just really nice to deep clean and organize your space so that your mind is decluttered, your space is decluttered, and you really are getting that fresh slate that everybody wants in the new year. For me, I feel like I've cleaned out my closet, oh my gosh, a million times over the past year and a half, just because like going through postpartum, getting rid of clothes that don't fit, getting rid of clothes that aren't my style anymore, moving into the new house, getting rid of the old decor from the old house and like trying to get new stuff for the new house, right? Like I feel like I have gone through so many items and yet my space still feels so cluttered, so overwhelmed. Like I have just way too many things and I will blame that on overconsumption. I am like very easily influenced. So if I see something on TikTok shop or I see something on Instagram and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need this, I buy it and then I never end up using it. And then also with just like getting PR packages and stuff. Like I have so much stuff stored away in a closet that I've literally never opened, never touched, never used. And like, I just need to go through all of those things, figure out what I'm keeping, what am I giving away, what am I donating, right? Just so that I can have the fresh, clean slate that I need, take inventory of everything that I have. So I'm not feeling like I need to buy things or waste money on things that I already have or things that I just don't need. Last year when I did this video, I told you guys that I was going to clean out my t-shirt drawer and I was just throwing all of my t-shirts away. And I pretty much did do that. I still have some t-shirts that are just like sentimental value or just like too nice to throw away, you know? But I definitely did get rid of most of my t-shirts from last year. So I was very proud of myself for that. But again, I just kind of need to go through my closet, get rid of some other things. And also I feel like because I'm going to turn 29 in April, guys. Like, oh my gosh, I'm literally so close to 30. It terrifies me. But I just feel like my style is changing. My vibe is changing. And a lot of the things in my closet just don't resonate with me in the same way that they used to. So I just feel like I need a redo, a fresh start, a grown woman wardrobe for my grown woman era. The next thing that we're going to focus on for our end of the year reset is to focus on our discipline and our routines rather than just what our goals are going to be for the new year. Y'all know last week we did a whole episode and deep dive on discipline. If you haven't listened to it, I highly suggest that you do, because not to pat myself on the back, but it's a pretty good episode and something that I think a lot of people need to hear. In that episode, I told you guys that discipline is not built by your motivation. Your discipline is not sustained by your motivation, by getting into the new year and being all hype, like, oh, I want to lose weight and I want to wake up early and I want to go, do all of these things. And then by March, when that motivation burns out, you're just doing the same thing that you've been doing for all of your life. So really for the end of the year, I want us to focus on building routines, building habits that will help us sustain our discipline even when our motivation has left us, so that we can still be successful. We can still work towards the things that we want and desire out of life, even when we don't feel like it, even when we're not motivated, even when we don't want to get up out of bed, right? Because we're building these habits and we're building these systems of consistency in our life, we know that it's just something that we have to do. So I'm not saying don't write down your goals, don't make the vision board. I feel like that is so important, especially at the end of the year, just so that you can get a visual representation of what it is that you're actually going to be doing in the new year and what you're going to be working towards. It's not a bad thing. But what I am saying is, in this last 4 weeks of the year, if you know you want to start waking up early in January and like getting up and reading your Bible and doing whatever it is that you feel like you need to implement into your routine, those are things that you need to start trying to do now, because it's not going to be you wake up on January 1st and you're a brand new person who wakes up at 4:30 every single morning and gets up and at it, right? That's going to take consistency and doing it over and over and over again to make it become the habit. So in these last 4 weeks of the year, really work on building these systems of discipline and routines and creating the habit, so that by the time January comes, you're not starting from ground zero. You're starting from weeks and weeks of practicing this habit already. If you do that, the start of January for you of 2025 is going to be your most successful start to the new year that you've ever had. I promise you, I'm telling you right now, if you practice the habits now that you want to implement in the new year, but by the time January comes, you will be like, okay, I got this. I've been doing this. I've been practicing, and now it's time to put my practice into play and actually do the things that I said that I'm going to do in the new year. So yeah, like I said, if you haven't listened to the episode on discipline, highly suggest it, because it will definitely get you inspired to be disciplined in the new year. And I think it also gives a different perspective on discipline as well. So yeah, that's me just shamelessly plugging last week's episode. All right, the next thing we're going to do for our end of the year life reset is, girl, we're going on a fast, okay? Don't look at me like that. Don't get mad at me. We need to go on a fast. And I know fasting has kind of a negative connotation to it, because it's like you're taking something away and you're forcing yourself to really like focus on your spirit and not so much on your fleshly desires. But when I tell you, fasting is so important. Anytime that I've done a fast in my life, I have always come out on the other side of it with just more clarity, more motivation, more inspiration. Like I just feel geared up and ready to go. And I don't know what it is about a fast. Like, it's something that just happens spiritually when you actually decide to stop feeding your flesh and start feeding your spirit with the word of God and like focusing on that relationship. That gives you so much clarity on the direction that you need to go in your life. So we're going to do a fast, okay? Whatever fast you want to do is up to you. You can do the Daniel's fast. It doesn't even have to be with food. You can do a social media fast. You could do a water fast. Like, don't fast from water, but like only drink water, okay? Fasting is different for many different people, and it does not have to look the same. Like, we do not have to do the same fast. What my flesh feeds off of might not be the same thing that your flesh feeds off of. So whatever you feel like is distracting you from your relationship with God or like clouding your judgment, just set it aside for like 3 weeks, okay? 21 days of prayer and fasting can do the mind and the body wonders, okay? And the spirit as well. That's what's most important. But yeah, I think fasting will at the end of the year will just give us the clarity that we need going into the new year. It will help us get ready for the game plan. It will help us figure out what it is that we're supposed to be doing, who are we supposed to be helping, what business are we supposed to be starting, because you're able to hear God so clearly tell you what it is that he wants you to do. And yeah, I just think that it will give us a lot of clarity as we go into the new year and just declutter our mind and our spirit from the things that we've been feeding our flesh constantly, and really focus on our spirit and making sure that like we're discerning and hearing God clearly on what it is that he wants us to do. So I don't know what your fast is going to look like for you. And I haven't had a lot of time to think about what I want it to look like for me. But I think just sitting here in this moment, I would definitely want to do a social media fast. And that does not mean not posting, because I obviously have like brand obligations. I have the podcast obligations. But I think for me, it would just look like not scrolling and not indulging in social media, but only posting when I need to post and doing things that I need to do, and then just like getting off of it, because I feel like I spend a lot of time on social media. Another thing that I would probably fast from is just like juice and do a water fast. Just really, again, focusing on cleansing my body, cleansing my spirit of all of these impurities. Again, making sure that I'm reading my Bible and praying while I'm in my fasting season, because that is the most important part. Like, you cannot fast without having prayer and feeding on the word of God, because that is what's going to fuel you for every single day, especially if you're doing a kind of food fast like the Daniel fast or something like that, or a juice cleanse or something, right? Like, I've never done anything to that extreme, but I could imagine that like you need the word of God, which is bread to your soul, in order to make it through those 21 days. So again, I don't know what fasting is going to look like for you. I'm still unsure what it's going to look like for me, but it definitely is something that I think all of us need to do in order to gain clarity before we enter 2025. Okay, guys, we're wrapping up here. I know this episode is like pretty short compared to other episodes that I've had, but one, I'm sick and I know y'all tired of hearing my old man voice. And then two, Ace and Justin are home right now. So I just feel like I want to go and be with them. So I was trying to come and just talk to my girls really quick so we can get our life together before the start of the new year. But yeah, we're almost done. The next part of our end of the year life reset is going to be handle any of your lingering obligations. Okay. This could be making appointments that you've put off throughout the entire year, like your yearly and annual appointment, your dentist appointments, your checkup appointments, right? Like, just make sure that you're handling any lingering obligations that you have. It could be like paying off any bills, paying off any credit cards. What else is like lingering? Maybe like getting your finances ready for tax season that's going to be coming up very soon. Checking off any other goals that you haven't gotten the chance to do so far this year, right? Like, just take an inventory of what you have not done that you said you were going to do. And if it's possible in the next 4 weeks, like, just try and make sure that you get it done so that it's not hanging over your head when you enter into January, because that's literally the worst feeling, is like when you're going into a new year and then you realize there's still things that you're dealing with from 2024. It's like, no, we're in 2025. So just make sure that you handle whatever things that you haven't been able to handle yet, because it will again give you just like this peace of mind about entering into the new year and not having to worry about things from the past that might be hanging over your head and caught. My mic just died. Y'all, oh my gosh, my microphone literally just died. Like, what is happening to me right now? I have to bring out the Rode microphone. Hold on, let me actually unclip it from my... Yeah, I'm so stressed right now because why did my little thing just die on me? I'm using this pod track that I borrowed from my friends because y'all know the piece on my microphone that connects to my computer is broken. So that's why I haven't been able to use my Shure microphone until today. But I forgot to charge the little thing because I literally never use it. So I'm like, I don't even know how this works half of the time. I'm just hoping and praying that it does. And then it just died on me. And so now, yeah, we're almost done. Like I was saying, I honestly don't even remember what I was saying. We were talking about handling your lingering obligations before I was rudely interrupted. But I think I was pretty much done with that thought of like making sure that you handle all of your 2024 business so it's not following you into 2025. Yeah, we get the gist there, okay? Let's move on to the last part of our end of the year life reset, and that is going to be to reflect on your year. And I know we kind of talked about this in the figuring out your game plan portion, like the first step of ending of our end of the year life reset. Y'all, I'm sorry, my mind. But yeah, we're going to reflect on our year. And again, this is more so about self-reflection to really determine like what did you do in this year? What did you accomplish? What did you not accomplish? What were like the high moments? What were the low moments? What do you wish that you would have spent more time doing versus what did you actually spend your time doing, right? Like really just reflecting on the year as a whole and understanding what you did with that time because 365 days is a long time, you guys. And even though in the moment it feels like it goes by in the blink of an eye, there's a lot that can happen in a year, and sometimes it's easy for us to forget what we've accomplished and what has taken place in the year because life can just be so overwhelming sometimes and stressful, and you're focusing on the wrong thing, so you're not able to focus on the good, right? Like I just think at the end of the year it's super important just to look back and reflect and see what happened this year. That way you're reminded of good, happy memories. You're able to decide like what are things that you want to carry with you into 2025 versus the things that you want to leave in 2024, right? Like reflecting in general is just so important. You guys know I am a huge advocate for self-reflection and just making sure that you fully understand yourself, your surroundings, your environment, because it really does tell you a lot about yourself and why you do the things you do, why you act the way you act, why you like the things you like. So just take some time, a few minutes, right? And what I like to do is I will go like through each month and I'll just make a note section in my phone and put all the 12 months like January, and I'll write out everything that I can remember that happened in the month of January. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you got to go look back through the photos in your phone and like figure out what was going on, go look back at Instagram posts and things like that. But yeah, I really just like to take inventory month by month. What did I accomplish? What were my highs? What were my lows? What did I spend time doing in January? What brand deals did I have in this month, right? Like really just taking inventory of every little thing that I can remember and then reading through it and just being wowed at how much I was able to accomplish and do in a year. And it's a really good feeling. So if you've never done that before, I would highly suggest it. Just go month by month and figure out what you did with your time in the year. And I think that you would be very, very surprised. So yeah, that is all of my notes for my end of the year life reset. I'm going to go ahead and close my iPad because we are ending out this episode. It's been a chaotic one, but I hope you guys enjoyed it anyways. I really hope that this gets you motivated to start gearing up and ending out your year strong so that you can start 2025 on the best foot possible, just like with the best mindset, the most clarity you've ever had, the game plan, right? All of it. I really hope that this helped inspire you to go ahead and get a jump start on rounding out your year in a good way. Like I said, I know this episode was pretty short, but I hope you guys enjoyed it anyways. If you did, be sure to subscribe to the podcast. My goal, I'm going to say this out loud because if I don't say it out loud, then it will never happen. But my goal is to get to 3,500 subscribers by the end of the year. The day that I checked this, I think we're at like 3,050. So we need like 450 more people. So if you are new here, this is your first time listening, or if you've been a long time listener and have just never subscribed, I would love for you to come and join our Girl Gang family so that we can hit our goal of 3,500 by the end of the year. That would be so exciting. You can go ahead and leave a nice little comment. If you have any other things that you think would be beneficial to do before the end of the year, go ahead and drop that down below in the comments as well. Leave a rating, like, 5-star review, all the things. I love you guys so much. I hope you have a great start to December, a great Monday, a great week, and I'll talk to you in my next episode. Bye.